Tony Perez. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks and weighing 139 3/4 pounds. He's originally from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, now living and fighting out of Boston, Massachusetts. His professional record, 22 victories, 7 defeats and 2 draws, 9 KOs to his credit. Ladies and gentlemen, Edwin Curet. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the multicolored trunks and weighing 139 3/4 pounds. He's from Passaic, New Jersey, and his professional record, 25-2-2, 16 KOs, ranked number 10 in the world, and he's the former lightweight champion of the world, Rasai Batman Bramble.
Bramble, Curet, I understand you already got your instruction dressing room. Give me a good, clean fight. I will not bother neither one of you, all right? Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
So, Curet, who last fought in October, a winning effort there, against a man who's compiled a good knockout record over the years, the former champion, calls himself Rasai Bramble. He's not just content to win a lightweight championship, but he wants to beat the acknowledged top lightweight, that is Chavez.
Hold it, right.
He will not settle for Ramirez or Greg Haugen. He considers them lesser champions.
You might as well go for the money. He can speak from experience, losing a big one against Hector Camacho with the Rosario loss. You start thinking in terms of those possible $1 million paydays.
Here is Curet doing some early banging now. And scoring nicely with either hand.
Okay, right.
Bramble held the lightweight championship for a little over 2 years. Those 2 memorable battles with Boom Boom Mancini along the way. The Curet fight was 84.
And Bramble was rocked by that right hand. It will count as a knockdown because his glove touched the floor.
Will stand there for 8 fingers from referee Tony Perez.
There's a bit of a surprise. Curet couldn't get that close to him in the entire 10 rounds the first time they fought.
Amazing. Back in those days, I said Bramble was the knockout artist. Curet comes in with just 9 KOs in 31 bouts.
He's always been somebody that just when you're about to write him off, he comes up with a surprise.
He's the kind of opponent, too, that you can easily underestimate. Just over a minute to go in the first round. He has surprised Bramble in this crowd here in the opening round.
Hold it, right.
Because Curet is not the puncher in this fight on paper.
But he's not punching paper now. He's scoring effectively on Bramble. A slow start for the former world lightweight champion. Bramble said it took him a long time to get over the defeat by Rosario mentally, but he feels now he has overcome that. He's not off to a very impressive start, but they've got a long way to go. 10 scheduled rounds here in the main event tonight. Gets the jab through effectively. So it's off the mark first here in round number 1. Stay with us.
Hand high behind the ear, perfect spot for it. And Bramble's gloves touch the canvas. That's a knockdown.
That's why he took the count of 8. Good first round for Curet, who's a tough guy to take down himself. He went 12 tough rounds against Greg Haugen back in '86. Haugen now the IBF lightweight champion. He also went the distance against this man Bramble back in '84, and ironically was knocked out by Alvin Too Sweet Hayes in September of '86. So how do you figure it?
He's been in so many good fights. I remember Robin Blake. He was just about to get over the hump in that fight with a big 5th round and just couldn't seem to muster up enough. Apparently beat Kenny Bogner on a cut, and then it was taken away from him by the New Jersey Commission 4 days later when he wasn't there. He definitely had an endurance streak.
Still in excellent shape and so eager to score this victory here over Bramble, which could do wonders once again for his career.
All right, break.
After he lost to Hayes, got knocked out by him, he finished '86 by losing 10 rounds to John Duplessis in Louisiana, then bounced back with an impressive win over tough Mickey Ward, who he was to have fought tonight. Ward had an injury, and so Bramble's here instead for this matchup. And then John Refuse, he also beat over 10 rounds in October. Halfway in round 2, it is scheduled for 10, our main event tonight.
And the way they're waging this fight, Don, we're really going to see who the stronger fighter is over the course of 10 rounds, because it's strength against strength inside right now. Not as much movement. They're both in there trying to lean on the other guy.
A minute to go in the second round. Bramble showing more signs of life here in the second than the first round. He has plans for Camacho and Julio Cesar Chavez down the road, but he's first got to get by this man, Edwin Curet.
Bramble has a good right hand, which has become underrated in recent years because he hasn't been fighting. It's kind of a sneak weapon. Everybody knows him as being up the middle, since that's the way he beat Mancini, but he can punch down on opponents pretty well, too.
Last year, he went 10 rounds with tough Freddie Pendleton and then knocked out John Colvin in just the 2 bouts he fought last year.
He went from tough Freddie Pendleton to not tough Johnny Calvin.
Right. And he's got a tough cookie right here in Curet as he launches 88 as the second round draws to a close. Stay with us from Resorts in Atlantic City. Round number 3. Bramble against Curet, scheduled for 10, our main event on Top Rank Boxing tonight. Don Chevrier along with Dave Bontempo. We wish Al Bernstein well back there in Las Vegas and look forward to being with him again on Friday, April the 8th. Our next bout for you. And the scoring in this one so far on your card, Dave.
Is Curet winning the first one big, and then the second round even, nothing quite as much happening. I gave Curet a 10-8 for that knockdown, even though it was close.
He certainly controlled the round.
And, you know, the aspect of that knockdown, you may see some 10-9s for that round because it was kind of a flash knockdown. The judges had that discretion.
Yeah, I would probably go 10-9, but I won't argue with you for giving him a 2-point margin. Good snapping right. Quick hand shown by Curet. Always displays guile, but has not been able to stop some of the big ones. Bramble, Crowley, Blake, Haugen, all beat him on their way to competing for world titles.
And in Curet's case, it's been a matter of not having the power to endure over 10 rounds to beat the contenders. You just have a little bit more.
Of course, the down point for Bramble was his 2-round devastating loss to Edwin Rosario halfway through the third round.
Well, it probably cost him $500,000 to $750,000.
That's what he made for one of the Mancini fights, $750,000. So he wants to get back to those big paydays. And Curet standing in the way of that goal right now. Just over a minute to go in the third. Fighter against Donald Curry against Sean Mannion has been announced for the 15th of April on Top Rank Boxing on ESPN from right here at Resorts in Atlantic City.
Okay, hold it, break.
And this is where both fighters seem to prefer doing their work on the inside, countering.
But from long range, certainly, although he's handling himself inside well, Curet has been dominant.
Which is a bit of a surprise, because Bramble would appear to have the reach, and certainly has been quick.
Bramble with just 2 losses in his professional career. Curet has lost 7, but it's a mighty big name. There's no disgrace to the people he has been beaten by. And he continues to dominate here as the 3rd round draws to a close.
Okay.
Now you saw Edwin Curet just get off his stool while Bramble, trying to give the impression of being the fresher of the two, stood without benefit of his for the final 10 seconds before the start of this round. There shouldn't be any problem, I wouldn't think, with Curet coming down the stretch with his experience and past record of showing stamina, Dave.
Especially if the pace of this fight remains where it is.
Which is somewhere between slow to full stop.
In the beginning, they looked like they'd get into a power exchange and leaning on each other. But that, too, is at times stopped with just a lot of grabbing, holding.
An effective uppercut shown by Curet just a moment ago.
And the big thing to look for is who's going to be the first to make an adjustment. Right now, it looks like Bramble. He's gotten closer, but now he's starting to throw those uppercuts, which will be the patent of his style of coming up the middle. He's the taller fighter. He's got the weapon, and he's got the hand speed to come across with hooks and crosses after that. When they tie up and they're real close with his reach advantage, Bramble can still punch while Curet would not be able to.
All right, break. No punch. Lean.
Midway in the 4th round.
Oh, no.
I know you talked with Bramble last night in your duties on behalf of the Atlantic City Press for your story. Did he seem as determined as you thought he might be?
He seems to be his typical free spirit, which is just Bramble to the max, playing off whatever they give him. He's determined, but he seems to accept a lot of what's happened to him. When he was talking about his layoff, he said, well, there's no use getting senile about it. I couldn't get the fights I wanted, so I just had to wait.
All right, break.
Curet is a big step in that direction for him. If he can get past this very tough journeyman, who was taking the lead on him, I would suspect, and you would agree here in the early rounds.
Curet got off the mark quick.
Half a minute in the 4th round remaining. As Curet tries to dance out of trouble, gets caught with a pretty good right. Bramble with both hands scoring well now. This is as effective as he's looked in the entire bout.
Okay, hold it.
But again, the former world champion fails to sustain very much in the late going as there is the bell to end the round. So we follow Bramble back to his corner.
Now listen to me. That's good. When I mean the body, I mean you feint the jab and stick the jab in there. Or when he punches, lean in and punch to the head. Lean in, punch to the body. Understand? Take your stuff over your head, make him miss. Don't try to block all that stuff. Let him get tired by missing, see? And you counter stuff. You're doing good. Let him get tired by countering that stuff. All right, now when you got him hurt a little bit, don't go over the head, go in here. All right. The head's going to move and the body's going to be right there for you, okay? All right.
Bramble starts to find the mark with his right hand in the round. First the left, and then the right hand coming across. Using a little bit of that reach advantage, which he has. Good, solid right cross, drove Curet back. But Bramble did nothing after that.
He saw Curet blink, so he certainly felt the force of that right hand. As you say, no follow-up from Bramble. Here is the 5th round as we approach the halfway mark of this bout.
All right, hold it. Hold it. No, hold it.
Let's go back to your scorecard now and see where they stand at almost the halfway point.
Bramble has clawed back. I've given him the last 2 rounds. Seemingly, it's just because Curet has stopped, waiting for too many opportunities, and Bramble is finding a rhythm a little bit.
There's a good left that rocks Curet. He's knocked him off balance as he pursues him now over against the ropes.
All right, Frank.
Formerly Livingstone, now Bramble. Major names in the world lightweight ranks over the past few years.
Bramble is still looking for a shot to place the straight right hand. He's been coming over the top of Curet a lot during this fight.
He certainly has lost the elastic change over the past 20 seconds or so.
All right, Rick.
Curet is taking too much time off, though, it seems. Waiting for Bramble to come in and looking to go beyond that, hoping Bramble makes a mistake.
Bramble can be accused of that, too. When he does get a flurry going, he'll lay off and not show consistency. Whether or not they are both trying to pace themselves for 10 rounds,
All right, Frank.
I don't know. But the tenaciousness you might have expected, certainly from Bramble, has not been evident. For here is a guy who went to 2 wars with Ray Mancini and a battle with Rosario, which he lost. And by comparison, he's fighting very tentatively against this man, Edwin Curet.
The wars with Mancini were those of attrition. He would try to gradually build up the lead and wear Mancini down. And you could understand him doing the same thing against Curet if he was more active. But he hasn't been reminiscent totally of the old Bramble.
Curet back-to-back had 10-round decision defeats in '84 to Robin Blake, and then this man, Livingstone Bramble.
All right, Frank.
Came back, ran off 4 straight wins, then lost a tough one to Greg Haugen, who's now the IBF World Lightweight Champion. So that has been the story of Edwin Curet's career. Just can't get over that hill against the big ones. Now 10 seconds to go in the 5th round as they stay inside and slug it out.
All right, Frank.
One of Curet's rare victories on the inside, that round against Bramble.
And the 6th is underway. We're in the second half of the scheduled 10-rounder. Curet dominating the first couple of rounds. Stopped Bramble for an 8 count early on, dropping 1 glove to the canvas. Bramble did. But slowly, Bramble has come back here to gain a measure of control in this bout.
Curet's been better landing his right hand from a distance when he's able to get Bramble to pour out the jab. Curet takes a step back and then a quick lunging step forward to get the right hand in. He succeeded on that technique a couple times, but otherwise the right hand has been absent for him. Bramble going over the top and missing a lot, Don. You start to look for him to throw more uppercuts.
He's missed timing a great deal.
Missed the timing, and he's letting Curet be the beneficiary of being smaller.
Well, Bramble's certainly the knockout artist of the two. 55% of his bouts have ended that way, with 16 KOs among his 25 victories. But there's been no hint of any difficulty on those lines for Curet so far. Halfway in the 6th round now.
And it gives you an indication when fighters are trying to come back, just how far they have to get before they attain championship status. And we see so many fighters coming out of instant retirement and going for a lucrative payday, and they don't have the fighting shape.
Well, it's coming up to, well, past the 9-month mark now since Bramble has fought. The John Calvin fight was back June 15th of last year. So there may be some rust on the former champion here that has to get peeled off before he gets back to his former status.
Much more deliberate Bramble than we've seen in other fights.
Very much so. almost plodding by comparison.
And that can go back to the layoff you mentioned. A fighter starts to study his motions instead of just letting them happen.
Inside 30 seconds of 6-round time now. But Bramble appears to be getting the job done since about the 4th round. He's not dominating Curet by any means, but he's certainly scoring more effectively. He did virtually nothing for the first couple of rounds. So perhaps the inactivity produced a slow start for him. In any event, this, the 6th round now, draws to an end. Here is the 7th round of the scheduled 10-round main event tonight. Don Chevrier, along with Dave Bontempo, with you ringside at Resorts in Atlantic City. Edwin Curet and formerly Livingston, now Razai Bramble.
Bramble's been pouring with the jab tonight. It hasn't been something that's been accurate for him. And the jab is what really launches the timing and sets up the distance for the right hand.
Almost an extra 5 pounds for these two former lightweight veterans at 139 3/4, fighting his junior welterweights now.
What you see in Bramble is a reluctance to go in there and smoke Curet out.
Yeah. He just doesn't want to flush him out. He shows him that much respect. Realizing that, of course, 3.5 years ago, this man Curet took him 10 tough rounds at a time when Bramble was knocking out just about everybody. He let Curet take charge in the early minutes of tonight's bout. And even now, when he comes on, looks more effective. He is by no means overpowering. Curet counterpunching as they go to the body, then to the head.
All right. Right.
But from what I've seen to this stage, although he may be well winning the bout, for all we know, Bramble's got a long way to go before he talks about Chavez or Haugen or Ramirez or anybody else.
Well, they can still be dreams and distant dreams right now for him. Got to get a couple confidence builders under your belt first. And sometimes, no matter how badly a fighter may look getting his 10-round decision, just going 10 rounds and getting a victory does a lot of the step back. But that first fight is not necessarily pretty.
I shudder to think of what the speed of Pernell Whitaker would do to Bramble right now.
Turn slow motion to slower.
There's so many good ones in that lightweight division now. It's even tougher than when Bramble was there before.
Greg Haugen has come along and done such a nice job.
You got Whitaker, who lost a tough decision, Ramirez, of course, Camacho.
And Chavez is there now.
Even Mancini getting back in the act.
Well, not as much him, but certainly Chavez is a welcome newcomer to that division.
Well, he dominates. It looks like he will anyway. 7th round now coming to a close at the bell here in Atlantic City. Don't go away.
Don't worry about you. He button him too. Same time. Don't worry about it.
Bramble now getting off his stool. In a very uneventful fight for him in his first activity in almost 9 months as he seeks to regain the glory of days gone by. Bramble born in the Virgin Islands. He had one other champion, Amo Griffith.
There's a little bit of that old flash for Bramble.
Yep, few signs of it now.
All right, break.
Curet really showing nothing right now. He looks a little bit tired.
Okay, break.
And unwilling to capitalize on an opponent who's rusty.
And Bramble's given him every opportunity to dominate, which he did in the first couple of rounds, and couldn't sustain it. Now it is The former champion coming on, looking much more impressive here, much more aggressive in the late going. How do you see it, Dave?
Becoming a Bramble runaway right now.
All right, right now.
And that would include what I think you gave as a 2-point round to Curet to start the bout.
Curet was ahead by 2 points on this card after 2 rounds. So he's lost 5 points over the last 5 rounds.
Halfway in the 8th now.
All of which have gone to Bramble.
Yep.
Seems like Curet fights up or down to the level of his competition, but in reverse. When he's favored, he never loses. He comes on strong. And when he's up against a favorite, he does not come out and make it all the way. He does not actually give himself the best chance.
Okay, break.
He's been a pro since 1980, Edwin Curet. Slips down now. That is not a knockdown. And quickly in his face again is Bramble. Tagged him with a good right there. 30 seconds to go in the 8th round as he pursues Curet. Has him in trouble for the first time tonight. Nails him with the left hand. He will go down that time. Edwin Curet got himself in all kinds of trouble, and Bramble pursued him until he dropped him. 10 seconds to go on the round. There's a chopping right. Both hands now to the head of Curet, barely hanging on. He will go down again. Flat on his back. He will be able to sit up at least, crawl back to his feet at the bell. The count continues after the sound of the bell. At 8, Tony Perez, the referee, says, no, that is all. It is all over.
And Curet gave him the indication that that was it. Shaking his head at Perez to indicate that there would be no more. And Perez followed the lead of the fighter.
He did not want to continue. He had taken enough. The aggressiveness showed up on the part of Bramble more and more the last couple of rounds, but only in the final 30 or 40 seconds of this round did he really pursue him and get the damage done.
It's the kind of fight where he'll look back on it, and the best thing is that he displayed some of the flash he needs to become a force again. It wasn't textbook, it wasn't pretty, but he landed a wild left hook. He got a knockdown, and he forced Curet to quit, which is exactly what Curet did. He quit. So Bramble gets a nice victory for himself and just the experience of going these rounds.
And he did something he failed to do back in his prime 3.5 years ago, and that was stop this man, Edwin Curet. He had to settle for a 10-round decision then. This time, he finally stops him as Curet throws in his own towel verbally to the referee after a second knockdown at the end of the round.
And these were not classic knockout punches, but Curet had seen enough and called it off.
All right, here's the announcement now from Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Tony Perez stops the bout at the end of the 7th round. The winner by TKO, Rasai Batman Bramble.
So Bramble, at the end of the 8th round, actually stops his man. That is the 17th opponent that Bramble has stopped in his distinguished career. More to come on Top Rank Boxing. We'll be right back.
Well, Russell, you danced into the ring and you're going to dance out. It's a shame nobody's happy anymore. What did you find yourself in the 8th round?
I'll tell you, I was pushing him all the way, and my trainer said, go out there and push the man. You already wore him down. So I started punching with more authority in the later rounds.
Okay, why don't you take us through this 8th round and the final coming up here?
I'll tell you, right here, I know he was hurt, so I started working him. I tried the body wasn't work. I kept trying to hit him, just stay on him, just try to make him work. The left hook caught him. I know it was a great left hook, and he went down. I'll tell you, I got good punching power now.
You can follow it up here.
I followed up with a great body shot that we just missed, and I caught him the left hook again, and I just try to work him to the body, and I know eventually that punch will land, and it did land, the left hook.
Until then, it seemed to be at times a plodding or a workmanlike fight for you inside, sometimes a slow pace.
Well, I started the fight a little colder than I started. That's why I got the knockdown. I wasn't hurt at all. It just was a flash knockdown where I wasn't hurt. I knew it. And I always say in my career, if I ever get knocked down, it's going to be between the first and second round. But like they say, you can't keep this good one down. And I just kept fighting. I tell you, I'm ready. I'm going to take another couple fights like that. And I'm ready. They're going to have to keep me down. Knockdown don't mean a thing. Keep me down.
What did you notice about Curet between this time you fought him and the last time?
I felt this time Curet was more stronger. He was more determined because, of course, everybody wants to get a win over the former champion. And I knew that deep in my mind that it would be a tougher fight. But I tell you, I was in great condition, you know, due to my wife having a baby, no sex life, you know. It was really great. I really want to get another fight again before it's time to do that again.
True confessions of the lifestyle, that's for sure. Okay, Livingstone, Rossite, thank you very much. Good victory for you here. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Top Ranks Boxing in a moment.
Behind him. And Mario Rodriguez tonight is going to have to box and box effectively against Pedroza.
Although Rodriguez can take a punch and may have to against the power of this young Venezuelan. That'll be coming up shortly here. These two junior welterweights will be in the ring right after this. Mario Rodriguez and Engels Pedroza are in the ring. These junior welterweights are scheduled for 8 rounds. We alluded at the outset to the incredible professional career of Pedroza. He now fights out of Long Beach, California, but he's a Venezuelan and world amateur champion of distinction. Al has a profile on his career.
Engels Pedroza is as hot a junior welterweight as there is in boxing. The 21-year-old Venezuelan now living in LA has 14 KOs and 14 wins, and one came here against veteran Larry Villarreal. This former amateur champion throws excellent combinations, and he has a complete arsenal of punches. And he finished Villarreal off with an uppercut. He's hoping to make Mario Rodriguez victim number 15 an edge toward the early title shot many are predicting.
And look at this record. 3 against Terry Parham is the longest he has had to go. In his 14 victories, all by knockout, he has gone a total of 18 rounds. He may need some work tonight, and there are those who think that his opponent, Mario Rodriguez, may give him some, a fairly durable fighter. We're all set now for Chuck Hull in the ring with the announcement. Let's go to him.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Goldwyn Ballroom of Bally's, Las Vegas, where tonight we have championship boxing. The first bout of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, the officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The judges are Dave Moretti, Dalby Shirley, and Bill Graham. The timekeeper is Charlie Roth. Counting at the knockdowns, Al Bisick. The attending physicians at ringside, Doctors Donald Romeo and Flip Omansky. And your referee for the first bout of the evening, Joey Curtis. First bout of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, featuring 8 rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Introducing, in the red corner, fighting out of Yakima, Washington, weighing 141 1/2 pounds, with a professional record of 21 wins, 7 defeats with 17 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Mario Rodriguez. And in the blue corner, from Los Angeles, California, weighing an even 141 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career with 14 wins, 14 KOs. Introducing Engels Pedroza.
I gave you your instructions in the dressing room. Watch your low blows, watch your heads. When I tap you on the back, break clean. In case of a knockdown, go to a neutral corner, stay there. Don't come out until I tell you to come out. It might cost you the fight because I'll stop the count. Shake hands, let's have a good fight.
And we expect it will be a very good fight between these two.
Okay.
Here is Rodriguez. Last bout is a 10th round knockout against Larry Benson, but all the bouts for this guy have been knockouts. Engels Pedroza. He certainly would like to go a little longer than he is